So naturally, let's talk about this song.
Yes.
Burn
it down. Burn
it down.
Yes, the first single off of my album, Veni Vidi Vici.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, it's such a catchy, stick in your head, song. And I love to dance. I took, dance, and it was like, cheerleading and dance, ever since I was a little girl, and, being that type of person and very energetic, that this song being the first single, I think really reflects that.
Okay. You wrote this song, right?
I did. I'm writing all the songs.
That's unique nowadays.
On my album. Yeah. And, I have some help on some of, the features. So, Frizzy, Harvey Daniels, who is probably one of the most amazing people I've ever met.
Right.
He's just such a beautiful soul inside and out, and he is crazy talented. And he's also one of the most nice, sweet, down-to-earth people, so he's really great to spend all this time with, and we spend a lot of time together. I call him my music husband because we're always together, and he is on a lot of songs with me. Some parts are just like these smaller features, and the other ones are larger features, and a few that we have kicking in the writing in the works for the album are kind of like J-Lo, Ja Rule, J-Lo, Pitbull kind of fun.
That's interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the album's going to be very eclectic.
Okay.
I'm also revisiting some of the songs that I did in the recording studio 10 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm considering putting a few of those on this album as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if I am correct, you were kind of nudged back into music, right? Is that right?
Yes. Speaking of Frizzy, so I've been involved in music since I, as an artist, professionally stepped away 10 years ago when I left. I had a record contract, and I stepped away from that and came back to Pittsburgh. And I've always still been involved in music, but more like on the business end.
Sure.
And then I did like the whole I Love Black and Gold thing. So then, crazy enough, and unexpectedly, music and sports came into play. Right?
Nothing wrong with that. Not this town.
Apparently, it was. It worked. Right? And
no question.
But I was always in it in the business aspect, for my day job, was doing with Three Rivers Entertainment and Production and running, the music division, there with our CEO, and still singing in one of our bands. So I was still singing, but I was doing, more of the corporate kind of style thing, and just kind of laying low a little bit, if you will. And I got kind of poked back into it because after I was put in a book called The Legendary Locals of Latrobe a few years ago.
Stole my thunder there. I was on next.
Let's
get right in there. We'll circle back around.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I looked at this book and I went, oh my God, like they had in there like all these, accolades that they believed that were credible enough to put me in this book.
That's great.
And I'm looking at this though and I'm going, now what are you going to do? And so I got this idea to work on the Still Proud project was, to write a song that encompasses all of our accolades as a city in our history, from our blue collar roots all the way transitioning through our Renaissance and what the city is becoming, which the city is just incredible and exploding.
You said and be Pittsburgh's first rock anthem, right?
Yes, like a We of the World rock style of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And and it was hard. It's been 3 years in the making, and my dear friend Jimmy Hoyson, 6-time Grammy Award winning record producer, he's been in the thick of this with me, since day one, and he brought his Grammy over to my house and set it on the stuff that happens in Natalie's kitchen. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Some of the visitors and stuff I've had there. I should have had.
That's a sitcom.
Yeah, it totally is. Like I should have had everyone sign my island. It's like, but he brought his his Grammy over, and we sat there, and I said, okay, I've got these lyrics. I want you to check it out, and he, helped me kind of fine tune a couple of things and said, let's do this. And by me doing that with him, a couple years later, he ended up getting connected with the Vault recording studio that's up here in Neville Island. So Bob McCutcheon and Jimmy up there at the Vault.
Across the river.
Incredible people.
Yeah.
I mean, the nicest people that you would want to work with, and so talented and so skilled, and I've been so blessed to have them in my life, and to meet them, and for them to let me go up there and run around and be crazy, and from there
invade the studio,
totally take over. Yeah, it's a total Natalie invasion. Yeah, it's like the Beatles. It's Natalie invasion of Neville Island. Yeah, so but
there's not too much Neville Island to invade, so
it works. There's not a whole lot of me either. I'm little, so it's okay.
Fair enough.
But I from being up there and being involved with them,
right?
I and through some other mutual friends got to know and befriend the one, the only Smokey Robinson.
How about that?
How about that? Right? Sometimes I have to pinch myself, and talk about another incredible human being, and and so getting to know him is very inspirational. And
he's supposed to be just as good of a man as he is a singer. Is that
he
true?
100% is.
That's rare.
He 100% is.
Right.
I mean, the whole full circle. I mean, cameras off, him just lounging around. I mean, you will never meet a more genuine, lovely, beautiful person than Smokey. And then from there came Frizzy. So this song, I wanted to feature a lot of different Pittsburgh icons and everybody on it, because it's not all about me, it's about our city. And no one's ever done that before. Not only to write a song about all of our our accolades and everything that we are, from music and entertainment and sports and our neighborhoods, and what it means to be from Pittsburgh. And I wanted to feature all of these different icons and everything on it. And I was actually at rehearsals for the Steelers style fashion show, and we were at Heinz Field, and I was talking to Greta Rooney about this. And I sang the chorus for her, and she goes, "Natalie, like, this is really good. Like, this is really good." Jimmy Hoyson introduced me to Frizzy, and we were sitting there talking about the Still Proud project, because I wanted to feature Frizzy on this, being an Emmy award-winning rapper from Pittsburgh. And he's got a lot of other exciting things coming down the pipeline for the fall, and some other big music awards. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything or not, but
probably not.
I'm very excited for him. I'll put it that way. But regardless, we were sitting there in a meeting, and it was the first time he ever met me. And we're talking, and we're talking music, we're talking the song, and past experience in the industry and everything else. And he stood up, and he's like, they call me the King of Pittsburgh, and the city gave him like his day and his parade for his great, amazing awards, and well deserved. And he's like, You're the fucking queen. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? How will you retire my ass? And he's like, you need to do this. You need to do this. And he poked the bear.
Because you were done, right? I mean, in terms of in your mind, anyways. I
thought I was coming home to get married and have babies. Like, that's I thought that was like the intention and the plan, and that didn't work out. So I why not go back into something that and that you love?
Let me let's stay current for the moment, because we are going to do the deep dive here. Sorry, it's what we do here. So get ready.
Okay.
But let's stay current for a minute. So let's talk about Nat Around Town. Is that right? Yeah, that's because I like impromptu video. I like short vignettes to tell stories. And you're wrapped right up in this. So whose idea was it?
Mine.
Okay, what's your idea? Yeah. All right, I believe you. I believe you. It's really good, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my standpoint, it's very good. So, what is the overall idea? How many are you doing a month? Do you do it based on field? Do you have a schedule? What is this?
Well, it's been a growing experience. I'm trying to figure out the ins and outs. But so my home base was Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina, for all of my adult life, aside from the almost now 10 years that I've been back here.
Right.
So, it's my home away from home. It's my second home. And when I was down there, they have a television station called Beach TV. And my girlfriend, Julie, used to be one of the hosts. I used to use her fake ID. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I love Julie B. She's beautiful. But
see, the secret's out now.
It is out. It's okay. I think we're all old enough now to let it go. But
I know I am.
But anyway, Pittsburgh. I noticed that we don't have anything like that. And, we're voted on all these lists, for, being the most livable city so many times, and then Bon Appetit magazine with all of our restaurants. Right. And we're really transitioning into this destination place now.
Okay.
And there's nothing like this that's non-vanilla, that's fun, and can sort of inform, educate and activate Pittsburgh and all of its visitors, right? And since my tenure here and being back here in the city, I have been so lucky, like just such a blessed girl to have met the most incredible different people in all different fields, like philanthropic, different events that I've done as one of Pittsburgh's 50 finest, and doing all these large events.
Congratulations, by the way, class of 2016.
Thank you. And that was great, getting to be informed and educated on cystic fibrosis, and it's a horrific disease, and I still try to stay involved as much as I can. So, but with that, doing all these large events for Three Rivers Entertainment in the business end, all of the networking I've got, an opportunity to do, and then be at some of these galas and all the big things happening around town. Being a musician, so I know all the musicians and the bands, and then the people that own the venues, and Rick Jurgel and all those guys, and so we become all these buddies, and then me being involved in all the sports stuff. It's like I've got to know so many, of the different, players and owners, and Jimmy Sacco, that manages and runs Heinz Field. I mean, what an incredible person he is. I mean, he was such a huge mentor, for me. And I have a team of these mentors, here in the city, and they're all Italian men, which is funny because they're my buddies, and I'm sure people could view that and go, like that seems a little weird, but it's really not, because I'm one of the boys. And I've learned so much from them, because they always say that you should surround yourself with those that you want to be like and that you look up to. And
especially your top 5, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, with me getting to know all of these incredible people, and them, for whatever reason, being kind enough to take me under their wings and, go, okay, little bird, come with us, and, we'll teach you. And I've got to see the city in this incredible, like, behind the scenes way that most people don't. I mean, I've been in the tunnel, with the Steelers, before the games. And funny enough, the last billboard for the Pittsburgh Dental Spa was shot in the PNC tunnel. Yeah, in the baseball tunnel.
I drove past 60 today, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah. Not that one. It was the one before that, when I was blonde in the jungle. Yeah, but it was literally me in a bathing suit, standing in PNC Park. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. But it's the truth. It's true. That's where it was shot. So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I've got to do all these really cool things, and the people that operate Heinz Hall, and get to see these old culture featured, theaters and everything from behind the stage.
It's been an education for you about the city,
yes,
right?
It has. So I've become so educated about our city, and I never thought moving back here that I would fall in love with Pittsburgh. I did not live here as a young adult. I did not. I was traveling and touring, and then, again, my home base was South Carolina. So, so with my home base in South Carolina, I didn't get to experience, everything as a young adult. So I had to kind of reestablish that, and get to know my city. Yeah. And the craziest thing happened. I fell in love, and the city of Pittsburgh became my boyfriend. It was like Carrie Bradshaw when she fell in love with New York, and so I have a love for this city and its people. And, I think more than anything, it's from what lies in here in me. Being born and raised, here and blue collar.
Let's go there. Let's go back over.
Yeah.
So you are a product of Les Trobe.
Les Trobe. Thank you for saying it.
Yeah, correctly. I was instructed that I had to say it that way. Les Trobe. So talk about Les Trobe.
Yeah. Oh, so I was born and raised out there, and
out there.
Yes.
I guess it'd be over there, because it's to the east, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Who knows?
But it was funny. It was a really different way, to grow up. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it's kind of Les Trobe, especially back in those days, it's like Mayberry, in the best way possible. I mean, we used to run around and play, tag, and play with my cousins and go swimming, and just it was just all about growing up in the country, bicycle rides, and cow
tipping.
No, I never went cow tipping. I
don't even know what that is. I hear it's a thing. And
we used to go corning.
Sounds funny to me.
We used to go corning.
What's that?
On Halloween, where you corn people's houses. And stuff.
Oh,
that's so
corn.
terrible.
That's
that's
terrible.
I know. I was such a good kid too, but I did.
Do you mean like ears of corn?
Well, no, you have to shell the corn first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a projectile. Okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then there's beer bottles and road signs and just
Okay.
We were born in the country, man. You got to make your own fun.
There's nothing to do, right?
There's nothing to do. There is nothing to do. I was an only child, and then you had to make your own fun, and this is what we did. But we grew up on Rolling Rock beer and field parties and after high school football games. And, so it was really cool. I mean, the crazy part is that I never really fully fit in and belong there. As far as what was in my heart, I've always been more of a city girl, kind of trapped in a country world,
Even when you never knew what the city was, you just didn't feel like you belonged there?
Yeah, since day one. Okay. I mean, I've always been who I am, which is kind of crazy to say, but really, the older I get and the more I reflect and look back, I go, I came out of the womb being a performer, and I think there was only maybe a year at most out of my childhood, maybe around the age of like 4 or 5, that I wanted to ever do anything else other than being a singer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. And funny enough, being a singer was the safer career choice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes. So, what was childhood like in Latrobe outside of the corning, whatever that means, or whenever you're vandalizing people at Latrobe? I don't know what that is.
Do we have to put that in there? I put that on the record. I never did that. I'm such an angel.
She didn't vandalize anybody.
I'm such an angel.
Beer bottle. She did say beer bottle. I'm just, just joking. Just joking.
Yeah, I mean, so the only other thing I ever wanted to do besides singing is for about a year, I wanted to be a Shamu's trainer. I was obsessed with going to SeaWorld. Like, my poor father. Like, I used to wake him up, like, every morning and, like, can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? And so funny enough, again, like, it ended up, we were, this is a funny story. I was with the band In the Mood, the corporate band that I sang with here for Three Rivers Entertainment.
Right.
And we were on our way to a gig in Indianapolis, and it was me and Nick, Erica, and Steez, and we came up on this conversation of, if you weren't an entertainer, like, what else would you have done? And the funniest answers. And, I told everybody mine. Well, it was the same week, God bless, that poor woman, died.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And my band looked at me and they're like, who'd have thought that being a singer was the safer career choice? And I'm like,
no doubt.
Dear Lord, you're right.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh.
It's horrific.
Now I think about it, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But
yeah.
So I'm glad I was a singer. So so growing up, growing up out there was great, and I have I have a really wonderful family. I love them very, very much. We're very different, but in a lot of ways we're very alike, and it wasn't always easy. I think a lot of people, Eric, kind of see me and assume, which people do. That's what they do, and
so it's what we do.
I've worked very hard my entire life, and I'm a fashionista. I love fashion, and
what's the common word now? Is it bougie or something?
Bougie.
Oh, bougie. I was half right?
I'm only half bougie though. That's what's kind of funny about
me. I'm learning.
I'm a mix.
I'm learning.
Again, I told you I've been the same girl my whole life. I'm a Gemini, right?
Okay.
And so I've always been, devil, angel. No. Yes, actually. But rock and roll. Let's get married and have babies and family is the most important thing, but let's tour and
those don't mix though.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, family. It's who
Church,
are you?
Family.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, D, all the above. No, kidding. But but I've always kind of struggled with that because of the two different, I guess, sides of my personality, and the way that people sort of view me is they kind of just see what they see and assume, I think that I bet she grew up with a silver spoon, or never really maybe faced any real problems, or had to struggle or go through anything, and that's absolutely 100% wrong. I came from nothing. I grew up in a single wide mobile home. My twin bed had to be literally like cut in half even to be able to fit in my little bedroom.
Wow.
And, and my dad, God bless him, he's the hardest working man I've ever met. I think that's where I get that, hardworking, yeah, that's where I get it from. And I'll like get choked up when I think about it. But, they fought for everything that they had. And my mom was a homemaker, so she raised me.
Right.
And, my mom loved to sing. And, we would sing, all the time together, like in the kitchen. She would put on like Carly Simon. And I used to sit in front of the freezer and, listen to my mom sing. And, and the Judds. We used to always do... Winona and Naomi Judd, and funny enough, our relationship is a lot like them.
Like the Judds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very fiery, very, very feisty. Yeah. But bittersweet. And, but my parents, God bless them. The truth of the matter is that, they probably should have separated a long time ago. They, and I share this because if it can help anybody that was like me, or that, or even that's maybe even the parent and not the kid, either way. But it's hard on your children when you're fighting all the time, and hardcore, and, sometimes you don't mean to, but, your kids get brought into it, and it can become all consuming and then all about the two of you versus your child. Like the well-being for me was always taken care of. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I mean, I never wanted for anything. Even the little that we had was stretched a long ways, and I had a lovely childhood. I really did. But it was hard to grow up in that environment, constant fighting and bad. And, in order to escape from that, I found music, so I guess in a way it was, both, a curse and a blessing, as they say. And, but I would lock myself in my bedroom for hours just to escape it and blast the television or, and that was my culture. The TV was like my window to the world, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Pick something, and I used to watch Elvis Presley. And Elvis became my hero because, he came from nothing.
Right.
And I used to think, oh my gosh, like, so just because I come from nothing doesn't mean I can't be something someday. And so I looked up to him. And not only that, but he was an electrifying performer and his voice is crazy good. And so, he became my hero, my idol. And, between that and... watching the movie Eddie and the Cruisers when I was 5 years old, man, when I saw that movie, it was over. It was over. It was completely over.
I remember that. That was like 1985 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
that was a big movie.
Oh, I was so in love with him. I mean, when I was 5, I was in love with Michael Pere, who played, Eddie Wilson in Eddie and the Cruisers, Robert Downey Jr., John Stamos, and Rob Lowe.
John Stamos.
Yeah, and a little bit of Charlie Sheen. Do you think I had a thing for, like, bad boys?
Yeah, you think?
You think?
Especially that last guy they mentioned there.
I know, but I was 5. What did I know?
Well, who else were your influences?
Wow.
Back then.
Man. Definitely growing up in that era, Cher. I love Cher. I love Madonna.
I saw you did an impersonation of Cher, right? I saw a video of that. It was God. That was amazing.
Well, thank you.
That was good. I mean, no, you close your eyes, it was Cher. Then you open up and like you had the whole costume and it was...
You know what it was? It was for Fashion Alley last year.
Yeah.
It was with James Houck
our
and Diane Withrow.
mutual friends.
Yes, our mutual friends who are incredible. James is such an amazing, huge fashion designer. And
what she said?
Yeah. And... they asked me to host and perform for that, and it was, for benefiting Children's Hospital.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was Cher.
Thank you. And, well, the theme was Studio 54.
Right.
I mean, I came out, they carried me, 6, half-naked men carrying me up on this thing, and singing, and it was God, it was so much fun. And then I got to sing the Rolling Stones a little bit. Which,
yeah.
So speaking of influences.
I saw that one, Give Me Shelter, right?
Give Me Shelter,
yeah. I saw that video too.
That was a lot of fun. Of fun. And so my influences, I mean, the Stones are my favorite rock and roll band by far.
Really?
Oh,
and
100%.
why is that? Why is that?
I think because I'm a big blues fan, and I think a lot of their music clearly is blues, American blues influenced. And I love electrifying performers. That's why I love Tina Turner. So I'm a big Tina fan. That comes from my mom. A big Stones fan. All the music really that I love 100% came from my mom and dad. I mean, they have great music taste. Great music taste. My mom's album collection, I totally need to rob her.
So that's so rare, because I would venture to say that most children look to their parents and their taste and they go,
yeah, I know.
Want to gag. It's terrible.
Isn't that? My dad and I have an ongoing fight though, because he's a big Beatles fan. Well, he's a big John Lennon fan.
Okay.
And so am I. I.
But that's not being you can be a John Lennon fan and not really be a Beatles fan.
This is correct. So he's definitely more geared John Lennon.
Got it.
But I love Elvis, and so here's what's funny about what you're saying is that most parents usually like older music, and their kids are like, oh my gosh. No, in my house, it was opposite. I was obsessed with the 1950s. So if it was, Drifters, Coasters, Platters, Sam Cooke, Solomon Burke, I mean, Everly Brothers, Righteous Brothers, I mean, Frankie Avalon, the Four Seasons, I mean, all that I was obsessed. Fun for me on a Friday night around the age of 12 and 13, before you were old enough to go out with your friends, really. I used to... So I have OCD. I'm a clean freak. And so I used to rearrange my bedroom and clean.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, for fun.
At 12.
Yeah, for fun. Yeah. And
they had very little to do in Latrobe.
I know.
Very little to do in Latrobe.
I know, but hey, what are you gonna do? And but I used to jam out and blast the Everly Brothers and everything else. And I used to love listening to 3WS. That was my station.
Gosh, yeah.
That was my station. And my parents would yell.
That was the 50s station.
I
right?
know. I mean, but as much as I loved that, then the next day, it'd be Easter Sunday, and I would show up and walk outside the door, and my dad would look at me and go, "What the hell are you wearing?" Because I had all my clothes on backwards because I thought it was crisscross. Yeah. Change your clothes. You're not going to your grandmother's looking like that.
Oh my gosh.
I loved everything, but my influences came from my parents. And so circling back, so my dad loved John Lennon. I loved Elvis, right? And my dad he just was never a big Elvis fan, And so I'll never forget, I always get a screw with my dad, because that's how we roll. And so I got him this book for Christmas. And it's this awesome John Lennon book. And in the inside, I put the quote, from John Lennon: "Before there was Elvis, there was nothing. Merry Christmas, love, your daughter." But anyway,
That's great.
So Tom Petty. I mean, I remember rocking in the car seat to Def Leppard, Yeah. Right? I mean, so I loved all the big hair bands.
In the car seat to Def Leppard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember driving my car and rocking out to Def Leppard.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's no, I get it.
But I remember, Patsy Cline. I love Patsy Cline.
Why does everybody love her? I really don't.
She's real.
But generally, everybody loves her.
She's real. You know what I loved about that
one
woman?
song, isn't it? It's really that one song.
Well, Crazy, but to me it was Sweet Dreams. Sweet dreams of you. I love that one. But her whole album, I'll put them on in my headset and clean the house and just jam out to Patsy Cline for hours. I remember that Crazy, I think Crazy and If I Could Turn Back Time from Cher were two of the probably first songs I ever sang.
Remember that video from that song?
Oh, are you kidding me? How could you not?
Her ass cheeks are tattooed.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I remember.
I mean, I just saw her in concert. She's incredible, man. She's still got it. God, no. I mean, I'm glad I idolized certain people. I'm just so mad I never got to see Tina Turner in concert before she retired. I would have loved to have done that.
Is she really retired?
I hope
she's probably 80 by now.
I know.
Right? Or maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, I remember that was kind of my childhood. I remember, like I said, I actually remember being in the kitchen. I had one of those, Fisher Price little plastic sink things, And my mom, again for fun, my mom used to put hot soapy water in my Fisher Price sink. We were very clean in my house.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So,
overly.
Yes. Come to my house now. It's the same way my friends tease me all the time. They're like, they call me the mom because I'm like the mom, right? Because I decorate for every holiday and very domestic.
Okay.
I know. It's again, two sides.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm very clean. I follow everybody around with like the dustbuster. Like,
I'm kind of embarrassed now.
But anyway,
the studio's not in the greatest condition right now.
No, but I remember. I'll never forget. This is actually a funny story. The Bangles.
The Bangles.
Yeah. And so I love my 80s music, right? And so
Manic Monday?
Yeah,
85.
So
why do I know that?
When that song came out,
knows I know that song.
When I was a little girl, when that song came out, I didn't know what they were saying. I didn't know they were saying Manic Monday. And I used to sing Manic Mayonnaise. Just another Manic Mayonnaise.
And just like anyone ever sings an Elton John song, because we have no idea what the hell he's saying. That's why all the lyrics are twisted and sideways.
Exactly. But so that was like growing up, to be honest, so I had to escape into music. There was a lot of good. With all of that good, there was, there was a lot of hardship. There was a lot of, I remember being alone and like sad a lot of times. I think my mom was very overprotective with me, so I wasn't allowed to go and do a lot of stuff all the time.
Right.
And because of their situation, sometimes it trickled down.
Sure it did.
Onto me. But I, being a strong little girl since day one, I used to escape it. I would call my grandparents. So I was born on my grandfather's birthday, May 25th.
Okay.
And so, yes, my fellow Gemini twin, we celebrated every birthday together. And he was the only person that really ever believed in my music.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, my parents, they never would pay for like a voice lesson or anything because, they didn't get it. I don't think they got it. And sadly, but if they didn't understand it, then it was dangerous and it was scary. And then they didn't allow me to really explore it. You know what I mean? So they're a little bit more backwards in that way, and that's okay. I mean, teach their own, but I was not. I was opposite. Yeah. And, so I used to listen to like Celine Dion, and I would listen and pay attention to, her voice and where she would take a breath and how she would do it and how she would hold notes, and her and Mariah Carey.
So you were studying it.
And yeah, 100%. I learned how to sing in Spanish from Selena.
Wow.
Yes, bidi bidi bum bum, cada vez quiero ver so, but so my grandfather would spend hours, recording me so I could play back the tapes and letting me make movies and direct them. And,
really?
Oh, he was 100% my partner in crime. He was my best friend.
Okay.
And I unfortunately I lost him to heart disease when I was 16. 16 was a hard year for me. I lost him in December, and then I had a really terrible thing happen to me that spring. So but it, what does not kill you makes you stronger. And so, but yeah, I would invite my grandparents over all the time and put on performances for them, and my parents would have no idea that they were showing up at all. Because again, they were like too busy in their own heads.
Sure.
And meanwhile, I had the princess phone. I still remember my grandma's phone number, which is crazy. And they would come over, and all of a sudden, like, I used to switch on the lamps to have like lights going.
To have
my show.
Stage
I had the whole show, yeah, and it was like tonight live from the living room, me, so, but that was fun stuff, and then I'll never forget this. There was such a bad fight one time that I was like, I'm out of here, and I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I went to the kitchen. I had a Smurf lunchbox. And I remember this, like, plain as day. And I got the Smurf lunchbox, and I, put my thermos and chocolate milk. I always had to have chocolate milk. And I called my grandparents, and I stood outside in the driveway waiting for them to come pick me up. And I'm like, I'm leaving. Had my little going to grandma's bag, Yeah, that was me, right? So I hear Eddie and the Cruisers.
Right.
And my aunt Tina, my mom's youngest sister, gave me the album.
Okay.
And the album to Eddie and the Cruisers became my whoopee. Most children have blankies. I slept with an album cover. So
really,
literally. So now it's framed by my bed.
Okay.
Because it's like tattered, torn, bent.
Sure.
Like it's
sure.
It looks like any other kid's whoopee from their childhood.
Right.
I mean, it's survived everything but going through the washing machine. So
Eddie, I guess I get it. But what an odd choice.
But I love the 50s and early 60s music.
I get the connection.
You know, I mean, my favorite. So I love cars. Like I'm totally I love things that go fast and like probably that are dangerous for me. But again, I think about it. I grew up on the road with boys, so I'm totally used to being
farm roads.
Well, with the band and touring too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so I am so used to running with the boys and being with them, and so I love cars. Like I'm totally into that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so my favorite car is a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. You know,
of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And I mean, so I think everything about that movie and the saxophone, man.
Yeah.
God, the sax and the song. I mean, Tender Years is one of the best songs ever, you know.
Right.
And funny enough, I was just talking about this with Joe Grishecki. We were, he and I and Scott Blasey and Jimmy Crenn, and we were.
Scott was on this show.
Yeah, exactly. Such a good person.
Mm-hmm.
All good men.
Talented.
Scott, right? Hello. And we were backstage at Stage AE and Shooting the Breeze. We were doing a benefit for the Tree of Life Synagogue, and we were all there. And of course, Joe and Bruce or Springsteen are very connected, and the music of John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, which is the band that did that music.
It's a throwback.
Right, and so they're very alike, very sounding, from the same, Jersey, Jersey sound of that era, and. But Joe was shocked. He goes, "You love Eddie and the Cruisers?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And he goes, we play with them. I'm like, "So you're saying you're going to introduce me?" That'll be like a dream come true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway.
Huh. So how did you get out of Latrobe?
Well, I think it was. I think it was like a series of events that kind of came down the pipeline leading up to. My career has been wild. Mm-hmm. I mean, and from the day of this happening, this incident.
Mm-hmm. You keep dancing around. Are you going to tell me what it is?
Yeah, I will. But from the
sorry,
it's cool. It's cool. I told you I will be an open book for you. I've never been. So everyone only knows so much,
sure.
Unless you're a great friend or something. But my career, it was just like one thing led into the next thing, that led into the next thing, that led into the next thing. Crazy enough, and it all started with not always good stuff. But to me, it's how you bounce back from bad things that happen to you.
Right.
And I told you 16 was a tough year. So I lost my grandfather the day after Christmas.
Right.
And that spring, I was attacked in high school. And, it was really bad. And my jaw was broken in 3 places. And my nose was broke, and my jaw was wired shut for 8 weeks.
Wow. As a kid, that's got to be very, very difficult.
Especially when you're a kid that wanted to go to, like, Juilliard. Mm-hmm. And you were supposed to be, like, auditioning and doing all these things that summer. And, I couldn't do any of that. So that one incident changed my entire future. Literally. And I wouldn't regret it for anything in the entire world. But I certainly don't condone bullying and, or anything. And actually I wasn't bullied. It was just a complete, it came out later, actually in court, on the record, that this girl was going through a lot of trouble.
Right.
A lot of struggles on her own. And, and God bless her, I forgive her for it. And, I think it was clearly meant to happen, and, and so it kind of snapped. I mean, I was a really good kid, I was friends with everybody,
Right.
because I was athletic, and then I did, the theater stuff, and then I had friends that were like the party crowd, and, I think I had my first party that year because I was such a goody two-shoes. I really was, swear to God. And up until 16. But then that summer, just something kind of snapped in me. And I got really pissed off at the world,
Well, how could you not?
Yeah, I did. And that's not exactly, I'm not condoning that behavior either. I mean, it wasn't exactly the right way to go about it, but it gave me my edge. And it gave me the edge that I think I needed to find and work through in order to gear me up and prepare me for what was about to come down the pipeline. And so, yeah, I was a hellraiser that summer. I was 16. I was dating a 24-year-old street bike racer. My parents loved that. God bless.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
You know, the sun was coming up. I was coming home. You know, hey, good morning. You know, so, yeah. God. But I survived, you know, and, you know, there were a lot of drugs that started really circulating out in that region. That's no secret. I mean, it's a proven fact that's all over the news these days about, you know, our area and stuff that. And that's when that kind of started, you know, and I had a lot of people, I've lost a lot of friends to overdoses that I used to run around with that summer. And it just breaks my heart, you know, but anyway, my senior year started and, you know, I decided that because they were going to have us both there, the person that was involved in my incident and I together, and you know, we were in homeroom together, and my school didn't really, they didn't handle things the way that they should have, and I had to. Unfortunately, my parents didn't either. And again, it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them, but they just didn't know any better. And when it's something they didn't know any better to do, they just, you know, they ostrich. You know, they put their head in the sand. I mean, and it's okay. Some people deal with things different. I hit things head on. I deal with things. I like to communicate things. I like to squash it. I'm not a bury under the rug kind of person. You know, I think it's better, and then you can move forward. And I knew...
Well, it's the only way to move forward.
Yeah, I think so. And I had to teach myself this, you know, because I was not raised with that.
Right.
But I went in and I talked to the school, and I said, listen, I have 3 credits left to graduate, and I quite honestly just don't want to be here anymore. So I think, you know, you and I both know, after what happened and the way it was handled, that the best thing for us to do is for you to do what I'm asking you to do. And we shook on it, and off I went. And so I never got to go to prom because my jaw was wired shut. I never got to wear a cap and gown and graduate with everybody else, you know. Yeah, so, you know, I think...
Do you think you wore that chip for a while? A chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I did. You know. And I've always been so grateful for the unique opportunities that arose from that. You know, and again, I live a life with no regrets. You know, you can't.
No.
It's a shame, you know, that I never got to do those things, but the things that I have had, you know, are amazing. And, you know, hopefully I won't miss out on all of them. That's why I'm so hell-bent on, like, I really want to be able to have a wedding and have a baby and, like, do these normal things, you know. I just want to be a normal girl, you know, but...
So, when we were talking off camera, I asked you a question that I ask a lot of people. Okay. And that is, this is a good time to ask and bring this up. Okay. I'm not a person that believes that you can have it all. I think that you can have a lot. I don't think you can have it all, because I believe all would require everything firing on all cylinders, and I don't know if there's enough time or enough space in our lives to do that, because something ultimately suffers in some way. You, on the other hand, believe that one can have it all. So expand a little bit on that for me.
I think you can. Well, I think that I've just turned into such a multitasker that for me, it's all about balance. You just have to be able to balance. You know,
you don't think that's all bullshit?
No, I know it's not, because I live it every day. I live it every day. You know, I mean, certain things, you know, have to give. You know, it's a wax and wane, for sure. No, I really don't. It's a matter of finding a good teammate, though. You know, and when you're talking about work and dreams and career, and if you want to have a family and, you know, a great relationship, damn right it is. But you know what? It's totally doable. It's totally doable. You know, you just have to have someone who is on the same page as you, you know, and who is your best friend, who stands in your corner, you know, who fights through hard days with you, you know, wipes a tear, pours a glass of wine on a bad day, you know. but you got to want the same things. You got to be teammates. And I think if you find a good teammate in life, then I think that you can have it all. I really do.
So you think the work-life balance is an actually achievable goal?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Says the girl who works 5 jobs.
I'm just throwing it out there. So I want to know. so you leave Latrobe, and where do you go?
Oh, so okay. So after that happened, I then I didn't have to attend high school. Thank you. I didn't have to attend high school full time anymore.
Okay.
So I got a job, and I got a job actually up the street at the time it was the Sheraton. In Greensburg. And back in the day, they used to have the circuits. So, bands, cover bands used to play the circuit, like the East Coast Circuit, blah, blah. So good enough, live music when it was really, kicking in that time. So the band that was playing there that week, I used to wear a treble clef music note around my neck. And the gal that was singing in the band, FYI.
Name of the band, FYI?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And so she was having dinner and she saw my necklace and she goes, "Do you sing?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she goes, "I just found out that I'm expecting and I'm going to be, coming off of the road, my husband and I, so you should totally audition," like out of nowhere.
She never heard you sing.
She never heard me sing.
Just saw your necklace.
God bless Bella. Yeah. And I said, "Well, okay." And so I went to the band house that's in the back of the hotel and I sang "Jennifer Lopez is Waiting for Tonight." And I got the job on the spot. I literally walked into my front door of my house, walked upstairs to my bedroom, threw everything I could think of into garbage bags, because I didn't even own luggage, and at that time. And off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina I went because, funny enough, all my friends from high school were moving down there, for the summer and stuff. And my first gig with the band was going to be in Florence, South Carolina.
Got it.
So I was pulled into South Carolina from day one.
Got it.
From day one. Literally, the first night I left home, I set up shop in South Carolina, and I never left calling South Carolina my home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then how long did you tour? I mean, how long did that chapter lead?
So I toured up and down the East Coast. Gosh, man, how long was I on the road? Year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that. Not a really, really, really long time, but a different city every week, And I used to drive, Charlie and David, my 2 band dads. My parents were like, "You're going to be killed. You don't know these people." Again, the unknown, right?
Sure.
Don't do it because we know nothing about it. Don't even look at it funny.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah. And but Charlie and David were still so tight. My 2 band dads, I didn't even know how to cross a major intersection by myself. Like, that's embarrassing, but it's so true. Like, I'm like, "Wait, so you cross when that light turns green, Natalie?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." Okay. Don't
you
get
grew
killed.
Up in Latrobe. There's probably a couple handfuls of
yeah, it's like a
stop
blinking light.
Signs, a blinking light,
and not now.
blinking
Now it's
yellow.
a city, now it's a city, but it was different, when I was younger. But,
sure.
But anyway, so, I different city every week, and that's where I got my nickname, the Bird, in the industry, for 2 reasons. First, sing like a, fly like a, free like a bird, because you can't cage a bird, right? And secondly, because your voice is a muscle. And when I first was green and learning how to sing, and God bless them for taking a chance on this green little waitress from Latrobe, but underage. It's okay. It's back in the day. People were more lenient.
Yes. Yes. Less careful.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, so I used to sing, and I could sing okay. But when I would talk to you, because my muscle was so breaking in,
right,
I was like, "Oh my God," like stop, like Marge, almost like Marge Simpson, And so Anna Marie, she was the singer, the other female singer in the band, and she, I looked up to her a lot, because she was, I think, 32, and I was, 17, 18 years old, and so. She would teach me, vocal warm-ups and things like this. And then we would be in a different, band house or a hotel. And I used to nest.
Okay.
You know, I used to, you know, very domestic, you know, I was like, okay, let's clean, make sure it's nice, you know, let's like set up shop, put all our makeup out, you know, everybody was comfy, you know, everybody was comfy. And so, yeah, because I would nest and because I sounded like Natalie, like, so the bird nickname came to me from Anna Marie and Charlie. And I lost Anna Marie a few years ago to suicide. So, yeah, it was a shame. She was a really wonderful person. So, but yeah, so I did that. And then all of my friends, again, you know, were home at the beach. And I was like, man, like, I want to be with them, you know what I mean? And so I had some mutual friends down there, and I decided to go back and move back and you know, try to, you know, look into different fields and stuff like that and what can I do. And I had some mutual friends, you know, reach out and talk to the band leader of the house band at the House of Blues. Because if you're gonna go big, you know, go big or go home, right? Go big or go home.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, let's go sing at the House of Blues.
The House of Blues in Myrtle. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that joint.
Yeah. So Grady Avery, God, is still one of my dear friends, took a chance on me, and I started singing with Entrance, and the lead female vocalist for the band at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I had the world at my feet, right? I was so excited. I had my friends. I lived at the beach. I was singing at the House of Blues. But I was about to turn 21. And I was like, man, like I just, you know, I felt like Pinocchio, like I just want to be a real boy, you know, and I didn't know what it was like.
I don't know if that's anatomically possible, but we're living in strange times. It might be, for all I know.
Caitlin?
I don't know. Yeah, I just, that's a whole nother rabbit hole for another day.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we need some of this. Want to crack it open?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So good enough, I left singing so that I could know what it was like to. I missed so much stuff, you know, like I could never go to weddings of my friends who were getting married or family because I had to sing.
Oh,
and I had to perform. I couldn't go see concerts because I was playing them.
Got it.
You know, holidays, forget about it. You know, Friday and Saturday nights. What was that? So
well, that's the job.
That's the
robbed social life of an entertainer, right?
Correct, exactly. And so I wanted a break from it, you know? Struggle is real.
My gosh, you're not kidding. There you have it.
Oh my gosh. So I decided, may I?
Sure.
Okay, so I decided that I was going to quit singing for a little while.
All right.
And I got a job working for a Fortune 500 home builder, Centex Homes.
Really?
And they built the entire Barefoot Resort.
Okay.
So I got to be a part of that. And so I got into promotions. I was the promotions coordinator, and that is where I met my big sister and best friend, who was the interior design coordinator, Michelle. And so I learned a lot about real estate, and it was great. I mean, wonderful people. Yeah, salute.
Salute. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, so you had a little tinge of real estate in there.
I did. So I was learning about, you know, that kind of stuff, and it was really cool, and it was great. And
must not have been that cool. You didn't stick with
it. Well.
Sorry.
I know. But so then Charlie from the first band I was ever in, you know, he called me one day and he said, Bird. Yes, Bird. Bird. Yes, Bird. You know, Charlie to Bird. Come in, little bird. And so he said, "How about we go and do a cruise stint, and then we move to Vegas?" And I'm like, and I'm sitting. I had this beautiful office, you know, and we're right on the Intercoastal Waterway. You know, a team of people. I'm like, I'm in. Let's go. And so I
literally, that's how quick it was.
That's how quick it was. And I literally took a month and floated in the pool, and then off to the cruise line. My life was so nice then, wasn't it?
Sounds like it.
It was really lovely. It's to be young and have no responsibilities, right?
We're very little.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was 21.
So
man.
cruise, you went on a cruise line.
I went on a cruise line, and so we did Royal Caribbean, and we did 6 months.
Did you like it?
I absolutely hated it.
Really?
Well, the first 3 months, the struggle was real. I mean, like, I didn't know that, to do these kind of things, like, you have to stand in the 90-degree sun, with, like, sardines, like, and do boat drills and, like, all this stuff. And it's, like, you have to do all these, like, classes. And I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't sign up for this.
Just sing.
I just wanted to drink some Corona, have some tequila, Carlos and Charlie's, sing a song,
Or two.
Or three, maybe. No. But anyway, but you know what, though? I will tell you this. After I became accustomed to it, I absolutely loved it.
Really?
I absolutely loved it. And I made such incredible friends. All my friends from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to, learn how to say Foster's Australian for beer, and I learned, how to, we're going to take the lift and use the loo, from all of my friends from England, hello, Nick, Nick was one of our sports directors. We're still friends. One of my dear friends, Jason Hess, who's this amazing designer. He was the dance captain.
Okay.
Like for the entire team and dance team for Royal Caribbean. And I had my band on there. I didn't sing with like the Royal Caribbean singers and dancers. I was a band girl.
Yeah.
But we're still great friends. And so he lives in Chicago. We spend Thanksgivings together and stuff. I mean, man, so geez, like to think if I wouldn't have done that,
Right.
And
right.
Yeah, almost got married. Almost got married, so
The plot thickens.
Yes, the plot did thicken. Yes, I
noticed it was the almost in there.
Yes, exactly. But I met a wonderful person who's actually the cruise director.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. I mean, so it was really fun times. So I got to cruise a lot with him even after.
Right.
And it's a cool world, man. It's a really cool world.
So you performed there for 6 months.
I did.
And
we had a 6-month contract.
Okay. Now, did the rest of the band want to re-up? How'd that go?
Because our plan was to move to Vegas, and that's what we did. So I actually, from dating the said cruise director, and when we got off of the ship, we had worked it out so that we were off at the same time. Okay. And he is from Toronto.
All right.
So I actually went up to Toronto, and we spent some time in Toronto at his house up there for a while, and just kind of hung out. Again, I know it's such a different life than my life these days. Well, how about that time machine? I'd like to go back some days. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, wow, that was the life.
What was I doing?
Damn. But Toronto is a cool place, man. So he introduced me to Much Music, which is like their MTV, and so like I learned a lot, and I love Canada.
Up there.
Yeah, I love Canada. Canada's cool. Canada's really cool. And so love being up there. I'm a big fan of like Swiss Chalet and Tim Hortons coffee, and I still am to this day. And yeah, totally.
Hockey? Do you like hockey?
I do. I love hockey. Yeah. I love all sports. I'm a very sports
We'll get there.
girl. But so and then after that we moved to Vegas. And I went to Vegas, and it takes time to get going out there, and you
guys just went with no gig, right? You just kind of went and we're gonna figure it out.
We just went, man.
Figure it out.
This is my life, right?
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Okay.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was very courageous in my younger years.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I get it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
But you have to be, I guess. But yeah. So we moved out there, and it takes a while to really get going, and. God bless Charlie and David. I love them so much. And so I had to take a day job, for a couple months while we were kind of seeing like, okay, what are we gonna do?
What was that job?
I worked for Merrill Lynch.
Doing what?
Yeah, right. So the financial advisors, I actually worked with them, and so now I learned a lot about like stocks and the puts, the puts and calls, and like
So did you just kind of fib them that it was going to be a temporary thing, and you just
they knew what I did. They were fascinated. They're like, oh man, you're so cool, but I had a brain, and so I could hold my own. And actually, they had offered me a really great position, and I had to, of course, decline, because of
wasn't your passion.
Correct. Yeah, it's not where my heart, lied. So
right.
but I had a wonderful experience, working for them. They're a great company. And
You guys got a gig out there. What was your first gig out there?
And so my first, oh God, this is hilarious. This might require another break.
Isn't like a little cantina on the end of a strip mall somewhere, right? Where you'd walk in the bar and there'd be like the little beads hanging in the doorway.
No, it's actually way better than that.
Okay. Well, no, I'm just saying. Those places are out there.
No, it's funnier than that. So
the bars just have the lit up word that says bar on the outside. Didn't you?
Kind of. Add the word biker in front of it.
Oh, nice.
So here's this little pop princess, right? But I'm a rock and roller, and I can hold my own. You know, I'm a little.
You dig the Stones, right?
I dig all that stuff. You know, nothing wrong with a little fog hat. You know, so
nothing wrong with fog hat.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with Fool for the City.
Exactly. So I drive to this gig, and we get there, and we were playing with our buddy John, and his band's name was the Overlords.
Nice.
do you get where I'm going with this?
I can say,
okay.
I get the direction you're headed.
Okay, fantastic. Because I didn't, at first when I walked into this place, I'm like, what the what?
The Overlords.
Yes. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay. So we played. It was so much fun. I had a freaking blast. I look back at that and I was like, man, I got to play the wooden block. I was like, I had my tambourine on. I was like jamming, but these bikers, I mean, they're all like doctors and attorneys. I mean, they're good people.
They weren't hardcore bikers.
No, but all I kept thinking of is
recreational bikers.
All I kept thinking of is again growing up. All I kept thinking of is that scene from Pee Wee Herman.
Oh.
When he's in the biker bar. And I was like, I would walk out and I was like, Natalie, don't touch anything. Don't even look at it funny. Just keep walking.
Did you hop on the bar and do the dance?
I did hop on the bar and sing, but I did not do the tequila dance. I'll leave that to my little cousin Maria. She does that really well. But anyway.
So that was just one gig or did you play that?
That was just one gig. Okay. That was just one gig. I did a few gigs with them. And so they were kind of playing with them and doing that kind of stuff. And in the meantime, one of the top agents out there had taken notice of me, and three of the top bands in Vegas, cover bands, was what was it? Pop Culture, Graffiti, and Party Central.
Okay. And
they were all ran by a guy named Steve Byers and Larry Ladd. Those were like the top agents out there. And Larry Ladd, I'll never forget this. I mean, I was like a little peanut. I wasn't very big at all. And he's like, lose 7 pounds. I'm like, what? From where? And I cut my hair out. I'm like, I'm going to be a 1.
Right.
Jesus. So Vegas is critical, man. You got to have a thick skin. And, but I was blessed. And, he called me up. So it takes most singers a few years to break in. It took me 6 months.
Right.
And, he called me up about a couple days before this gig and he gave me this list of songs and he goes, okay, show up with Pop Culture, get on stage, sing these songs. Good luck.
See how it goes.
Yeah. And so I got the job.
All right.
And man, did we have fun. That was so cool, man. Being 21 years old and running around the strip, and playing. We played every major casino, all the huge rock stages, down in Fremont Street, first and third stage. And, my sound guys, they were sound guys that were like off the road, like with like major acts, Bush and like everything. They ran their sound. And
they knew what the hell they were doing.
They knew what the hell they were doing. And I used to have this catwalk that came off of the stage and into the sea. I mean, seas of people that I got to perform for, thousands of people, and God, it was so much fun. And then we used to do like different outfit changes, and the band was a blast.
They pay well?
Yes.
Okay.
Very well.
Most things in Vegas related to entertainment do.
Yes. They do. I mean, I made so much money, as a cover singer, but we worked our asses off, man. We played 6 nights a week.
I bet.
Yeah. It was lucrative back then. You could do really well if you busted your ass, and we did. And but we were solid. We had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that. And I used to come out. I'll never forget. I would open the show. We'd all be backstage, and we would do like a shot. Have a shot. I could show you the band couch. I could show you the band couch. Okay, it was again. I played with the boys. And they
the band couch.
Oh yeah. How you doing? And
alrighty then.
God, but the boys, they had me doing. I mean, at one point, they were like, like you have to chew tobacco. I'm like, what? They're like, just try it. I'm like,
oh come on.
Oh yeah. It's on video somewhere in the archives of Natalie's on the road footage, but yeah, I mean, because
funny shit there.
It was funny. It was funny, haha, and but we had a good time. So we used to do like a shot backstage, and I used to come out to.
Oh my God, that's hysterical though.
Yeah,
that's absolutely positively hysterical.
Yeah, oh yeah, because I used to do Gretchen Wilson, and so we were making fun of redneck woman, and I said I can totally do that. They're like, what? I'm like, I shoot whiskey. Why do you think I can't shoot tobacco? I can do anything you can do. Bring it on, So I did. Got to do it. Got to be able to run with the boys, man. So
how long were you in Vegas?
2 years. Okay. So I used to open up the show. It was great. The guys would do, girl, you really got me now. And then I would come out and do Alana's.
Who sang that song?
Who sang what song?
That song.
Oh God. Who did sing that damn song?
Just a little test.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
It's Kinks.
Is it the Kinks?
Covered by Van Halen.
Okay. See, that's what I was going to say. My initial thought was going to be Van Halen.
Just a little side. Just curious.
See, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's what I did.
I used to come out and start the show with Alanis Morissette's "You Oughta Know." There's no other way to open up a show with a in-your-face moment, And but anyway, but it was really, really cool. And so when I was there, I got introduced to a record producer, and my modeling from my modeling a lot too, because when I was in South Carolina, funny enough, I took a side job when I was in South Carolina that started my modeling career.
Okay.
By accident again.
How do we gloss over that?
Oh yeah. Okay. So I don't know. One story into the next, I guess.
Right.
So I was working for Centex at the time, and Michelle, my best friend, I wanted to get my first car by myself, and I was so young, I had a Mustang. That was my first car, Mustang Sally. I used to scrub the engine with a toothbrush.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that car.
So not surprised. I
loved that car. I really wanted to get the Cobra, but my daddy said no. I drove too fast anyway.
You're kill yourself, kid.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
And the insurance was way too high. So
you think?
But so I had my Mustang, and I wanted to get a new car. And Michelle said, "You know what, Nat? Why don't you go work at Hooters for like 2 nights a week? Do that for like 6 months. There's your down payment." And I'm like, because I didn't want to go back to singing,
right?
And she's like, "Okay, we'll just do that, for a little extra, cash." 'Cause I was a single little independent girl out on my own, and I wanted to do this on my own. I didn't want parents to help me. Not that they could. God bless them, because they couldn't. I mean, never. My parents. I'll never forget it. When my first apartment, my electric bill, I didn't know that if you had no credit when you were like 19 years old or 18 years old, that
security deposit.
You have to pay. Yeah, I was so budgeted, and I didn't budget that in. So my mom had lent me $100. Do you know? To this day, she still brings it up. $100. I've already paid her back.
Still looking for your $100?
Yeah, I've already paid the woman back. I'm like, so now it's like a running joke. I'm like, for real. Really? So anyway, so I didn't want to ask my parents, nor could I.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I want to do this, and so I did, and what a great experience! Great company, great corporation, and that's where I learned how to be camera ready all the time. I loved that kind of slogan of theirs. Always got to be on. You always have to be camera ready. I have seriously used that throughout my entire career, ever since. And the girls were super sweet, and they're super Southern, and here comes this girl from small town Pennsylvania, and they're all about their fun in the sun and their bikini contests. And so the girls are like, "You have to do this bikini contest." I'm like, there is no way in hell I am putting on number one, my dad will kill me. Okay. Number two, I'll be completely, mortified, like, I can't do this. And they're like, come on. It's so much fun. I'm like, okay. So I do this bikini contest. I won the whole damn thing. I'm like, how does this even happen? So the prize was to get to shoot with the photographer. And he's been in Sports Illustrated. And this is the guy that shot my photos and for the first Maxim magazine that I was in. I was in 3 issues of Maxim.
Right.
I was a hometown hottie. And in 2004, 2007, and 2009. So it started the whole modeling career. So I was in Vegas, and through my modeling experience and my photographers that I knew in South Carolina, my neighbor had met this lady who was a singer, and she lived in Atlanta, and she needed photos taken. So him knowing that I had a modeling background had asked me for any, names around her area. And I knew, people all over the country. Right. And, by that time I had a monster portfolio. And, so good enough. I helped her and introduced her to them. And so that was really great. Sure. And then, funny enough, shortly after, pop culture's lineup was completely dissolved. They wanted to go in a different direction and be more of a casino band versus like the rock pop kind of band we were. And my agent said, do you want to take over the band and have your own band? What do you want to do? And my boyfriend, bless his heart at the time, his job was to take care of me. Okay. And so I moved him out. Because my life was nuts playing that much. I mean, so I would, in order to go to sleep, I'd have to take like a half an Ambien, and sleep, and then everything else that needed done, I didn't have the time to do it, because I was constantly performing, constantly on, and so he was out, and so he was miserable, and I mean, and I get it, and like I said, bless his heart, he was so sweet, but I knew he wanted to leave Vegas. Like, he didn't like it. I could have stayed, and I may have stayed maybe if it wasn't for him. Okay. But again, hey, roll with the punches, right? Everything happens for a reason. Right. So we packed it in, and I declined that offer, and we came back to Pennsylvania, where I hooked him up working with my father, because my dad is the most amazing landscaper ever. Right. So just to get him something here, so he ends up working with my dad, where he worked for my dad for almost 12 years.
So it stuck.
So it stuck. Yeah, it did. It stuck. Right. Yeah. So see, everything happens for a reason. We didn't stick together, but his career stuck. But he stayed in my family.
But his gigs, there you go.
He stayed in my family.
His gig stuck, right.
His gig stuck. And now he's out on his own, so, good for him. So me, on the other hand, I was home for about, 24 to 36 hours.
That's it.
Yeah.
Out again.
A photo shoot in Atlanta came up.
All right.
And my girlfriend Tara, that lived in Charleston, she's originally from Pennsylvania too, and so she was on her way home to South Carolina, and I was in Pennsylvania for, like I said, about 24 hours, and I'm like, so can you pick me up? And she did, and then the rest is kind of history as far as the next chapter of my life. I went home, and I went and did this photo shoot in Atlanta, and then that gal that I had met and that I had hooked up with my photographer introduced me to a record producer. Right. And I was signed to my first record deal, and I started working on my first album. That was the first experience I've ever had to be an artist and to write music. And their thing was, between Atlanta and Nashville. And so they really wanted to make me the younger, sexier Shania Twain. And, back in that time too, the country music wasn't even like it is today. It was definitely more country.
Yeah, there's still an element of country in it, which today it's all bets are off.
Right, exactly. I think they're in a bit of a transition phase of finding out exactly what their new sound is. No offense, to anybody, but and I could sing anything, I mean, I had to be a chameleon, doing what I did in successfully Vegas, for so many years. And so that was fine, and it's funny because if you listen to the songs, I had to work really hard to lose my Southern accent and be able to now incorporate sounding like I am from Pittsburgh.
Interesting.
I know. Isn't it weird?
That's
well, you got to talk to me. You got to talk to me over a couple cocktails. So
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And but when I listen to that music during that time, it is so in your face. I mean, there's like no denying it, And but I loved all the people that I got to meet, and all the work I got to do, and it was really fun. But I don't know. It was an interesting time. I hadn't stopped, since I was a child.
Right.
Since I was a child.
Right.
And this is like working on 10 years of nonstop, 7 days a week, go, go, go. It's all about the show. It's all about performing. And I loved it. I mean, so don't get me wrong. I mean, it was such a great experience. And I used to go home to Charleston, Ala Palms. And so I lived at Ala Palms, all weekend, and then I would go to the studio in Atlanta during the week and write and record, and then sometimes we would make a trip like to Tennessee, and so anyway, it was all well and good, and some of the songs are incredible. That's why I want to revisit some of them, to put them on my album.
Right.
And one of the songs, the only song that I did not write, it's a really kind of cool story. The song is called Memphis. And this really cool, crazy cat named Conley comes into the studio one day and he goes, "Hey, youngin'.
Youngin'.
Hey, youngin'. Hey, youngin', I got this song for you." He goes, "Just play it, just play it, just play it." Conley, he's like, cigarette hanging out of his mouth, 1,000 miles an hour, you know what I mean? Coffee, and, here you go. You just have to play it. You just have to listen to it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I'm like, okay.
You had no choice.
I had no choice. And so he leaves, and Lee Davis, my record producer, and I, we sat there, and I heard this demo, and just the tears just started streaming down my face. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful song I've ever heard. And it's about Elvis. And what's so crazy now, like give me chills about this song, is that after some personal things I've been through, I think that getting my love of Elvis back means more to me than it ever has. And this song means more to me than it ever has. And what's nutty is that the history of this song is still a bit of a mystery we're trying to figure out. Conley had it given to him. Apparently the song is older than Black Velvet.
Wow.
And you know what song I'm talking about?
Sure do.
And which is also about Elvis Presley.
Right.
And we don't know. I've heard that it's from the vaults of Sony, but we really don't know.
No one knows.
And I talked to my...
you make it a hit, you'll find out.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I'm trying to find out before because I want to do the right thing,
they'll come a-calling.
Yeah, I mean, but the weird part is that, I hadn't been to Nashville and to the studio in a long time, or to Atlanta, and I talked to my old producer and I said, what's up with this? And he goes, "Natalie, everyone that I knew that was connected to that song has died."
Wow.
Conley has passed away. Everyone has passed away.
You don't believe in that shit, though, do you? Hopefully not. No.
Well, no, not in a bad way. What's crazy is like, it's just been kind of left in my arms now to coddle it and take good care of it.
I get that.
And to put it out there maybe for everybody, that they all loved it. You
gonna re-record it though?
Yeah, I think I'm going to. It's kind of crazy because it's a pretty difficult song to sing. It's very like low to high, and in order to sing it right the first time, I needed some major inspiration, and boy did I get it. I decided that I was going to go to Graceland.
Okay.
And so I took myself to Graceland. It was the 4th of July. And I was down in Bill Street, and the fireworks are going off, and I'll never forget it. I love the South so much, and I love the people, and I love, I loved Memphis. It was great, and I got a blister on my foot, and the people were so sweet. They literally picked me up, carried me into like the Walgreens that was right there on the street, sat me on the counter, got Band-Aids, Band-Aided me up, put me back out there.
They call that Southern hospitality.
Oh my God, I love them so much. I miss good Southern food too, but it's another topic. But so anyway, so I went to Sun Records, and then the next day I went to Graceland, and I just did the typical tour thing, whatever. Beautiful, gorgeous Sunday afternoon,
right?
And I'm walking out at the very end to get back on their, trolley thing to go across the street and to leave. And one of the guys that was working there, he said, "Hey," he kind of pulls me over and he said, "If you want to, you can stick around and you can just go back with us once we're done cleaning up." I'm like, "Really?" And so all the tourists leave.
Right.
And it's just, a very skeleton staff, here and there. And me sitting on the front stairs of Graceland.
Right.
All by myself.
So there was your inspiration.
I thought, man, my grandfather made one hell of a deal with Elvis in heaven right now, because I don't know how this just happened. Like, this is unheard of. This is so crazy. And it was moving, and the sun, there's a big tree in the front yard, and the sun was just shining through it. And, I'm sitting in the same spot. There's a famous shot of Elvis and his father Vernon after they lost his mother. And I was sitting right there, and I just thought, wow, how did this just happen?
Powerful.
How very moving. And I walked back into the studio, and I literally, I'll never forget it. Here comes the bird, and I flew in, I threw my bag down, and I'm like, hit it. And I just went in the booth and
knocked it out
one take. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was great. I think I would like to re-record it now, just because, your voice changes,
no question.
and it as it ages and it develops, and, so I'd like to re-record. There's some stuff I don't want to touch that I had recorded from years ago. And then, other stuff only thing I never finished anything. Everything was so rough. It's the rough copies, the rough drafts.
Yeah.
And
why wasn't it finished?
Well, the business is crazy. And after 10 years of being in it nonstop,
you needed a break?
I think it was a combination of things. I had an experience with some people in the industry. No one I was personally working with very closely or anything like that. They were amazing. But just, some people that, as a woman that, felt that, if you're going to do this, then, yeah.
Yeah. Just expectations.
Right. And I would never do that.
Right.
And I'm not that person.
Right.
I've never been that girl. I would never be that girl. And I wasn't about to put myself in a situation where I would have to deal with being in that situation. And, I was street smart by this time, and I will cut you,
I'll cut you.
I will cut you. I'm Sicilian. I will cut you. And so anyway, that was going on. My sister was 10 years old. And my parents, still weren't really getting along that well. And I always kind of carried this guilt, like I left her behind, and I knew what she was going through. And so that was playing on my heartstrings. This was going on. And I knew that I needed a timeout. I needed to think. And I got on a plane, and I, unannounced, I never even told my parents I was coming. And it was Christmas Eve, and I landed in Pittsburgh, and I called the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend, not the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend,
The landscaper guy.
Yeah, my Joffrey, and
Joffrey.
God, I love that kid. He's such a good soul. And so anyway, I called him, and I had this great world down there, Eric. I really did. I mean, things were popping. I had a machine.
Yeah.
I had a machine behind me that we were ready to go. Big things were going to happen. I was supposed to get ready to move to Nashville. Let's do this. I was signed on the dotted line. Well,
and the rest of but don't you think your life was full of lots of moments just like that? You just changed direction and just went for it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And everybody was shocked, I'll call it my Forrest Gump moment, but when this happened, but I got off of the plane, Jeff in his old beat up Ford pickup truck, came and picked me up, and I'd have it no other way. Latrobe. And it was freezing, okay? I didn't even own a winter coat. So I had to stop at the Marshalls in the waterfront on the way home, and all the coats were picked over. I mean, it's Christmas Eve. Right? And so the only thing I could find was this monstrosity of a coat. it was powder blue. Just call me Powder. The Blue Thunder. And it was this blue fur coat.
Wait, blue fur coat?
Listen, Eric, I was cold. Okay,
you must have been cold.
I needed to keep warm.
Have been very cold.
I needed to keep warm, and yeah, and so I bought this coat. I kept it for many years just as a funny side piece, but anyway, I showed up at my mom and dad's on Christmas Eve,
right,
and they didn't even have the tree up, and they were so happy to see me that it moved them to tears. And my mom was in the kitchen and we were playing music, and my dad, my God, every year. And the more cocktails he has, the more he plays it, is John Lennon's "So This Is Christmas" over and over and over. Yeah. And so anyway, but my little sister was there, and so I put up the tree with her and the lights, and I got to feel home for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was...
and you weren't ready to run out the door either.
No. I call it my Forrest Gump moment. I had the world, by the balls, and I was tired. I think I was tired. And it was kind of that moment in Forrest Gump, when he's running, everyone's like, yes, let's go. You got this whole team behind you. Like, it's going to be great.
Whole
it's gonna
city
be big.
Behind them.
Yeah. And I just stopped. And I'm like, I think I want to go home now, and that was it. And I was supposed to be on a plane on New Year's Eve. And I never got on the plane.
Did you feel like you were just shutting down? Did you feel like you just were burned out? Did you feel like, or did you not understand how you were feeling? You just knew you needed to be there.
Yeah, I think I was a little burnt out, maybe. Not completely. My energy level is usually always a million miles an hour, but I think just my mind needed to be able to think for what I really wanted.
Yeah, got it.
And the money,
got it.
The money, the fame, the notoriety, that stuff didn't mean anything to me. It was great, but it didn't mean anything to me. And I was kind of, in a positive way. God bless them. They thought it was like all for the good,
Yeah.
But I was kind of being put into this box that I didn't know if I really belonged in.
Right.
Because when I wrote songs, they were a little edgier, they were a little sexier,
right,
and they weren't so like, hey, how y'all doing? So I just didn't know, and I thought, well, let's go home, let's call a timeout, delay of game just for a moment, and let's think about this for a minute. And I spent that summer landscaping with my dad.
Yeah, that's surprising to me.
Really?
A little bit.
Why?
Just a complete about face. I mean, you've done that prior, but that's hard work.
It's very hard work.
That's a lot of hard work.
I've never been in the best shape of my life than when I worked for my father. And God forbid, like, I feel bad because it's so funny because all of my dad's employees, all the guys that have worked after me, my dad like always compares everybody. He goes, well, Natalie never complained about that. Natalie can pick up a garbage can up over her head full of trimmings.
That's a little brutal.
I did. because I was like Mighty Mouse. You know what I mean? Like my dad's the same way, and so we were both hardworking, and so I got to bond with my dad. I was in great shape,
right.
Having fun, and I said, okay, all right, we're back. This has been real. It's been real fun. Now what are we gonna do next? And I was like, okay, well, how do you make, a splash and be a big fish in a small pond? Because I, just meaning Pittsburgh,
right.
as one localized, centralized area. And I thought, okay, I'm going to write a Steelers fight song. And so one night.
But how did you come to that decision? What sent you in that direction?
I have no unearthly idea, to be honest. I don't know. I think, you know what it was? I think, honestly, I was wise enough to connect the two dots together. I know music, I know songs, I know how to make them catchy, I know what I'm doing, right? And I know that everybody loves football. I mean,
Southwestern PA.
Oh God! I mean, growing up here was like almost like growing up in Texas. You know, it was like faith, family, friends, football. You know, Sunday wasn't a choice for me. Like I had football shoved down my throat. You know, like all day, all day. It was like sit here. You know, between my grandfather, his nickname was the Gator because my family's from Florida,
right?
And so my grandfather was a Gator, right? And then my dad, you know, who just loves football and loves sports. I mean, so between the two of them, I mean, it was like,
right.
It was ritual.
You had no choice.
I had none. But it.
So you're gonna write a Steeler fight song.
So I decided I was going to write a Steeler fight song. Well, I mean, they had the polka, they had Here We Go, but they
That's not a song.
But they never had a female do it.
Polka. Wait, we're from the town with a great football team.
Yeah, which are the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I remember that from my childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they never had a chick do it. But it was July, and we were on crunch time here. So I decided...
I got to write it now.
I got to write this now. You do it now. And I had none of my musicians here, you know, or anything like that. And so I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And I just started singing with the band Mercedes. They were, you know, a cover band here, just so I could keep my chops up and stuff like that. And, you know, and so my best friend, Becca, from high school, she and I were... drinking this is like almost cliche. We were drinking a couple of Rolling Rock beers in Latrobe at the Lloydsville Fire Hall. But it's the truth.
Yeah, don't say.
You don't say, do you? Yeah. So I wrote I Love Black and Gold on the back of bar napkins.
That's cool. You still have the napkin? No.
No, I don't think I do. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think that I do. All right. But I wrote I Love Black and Gold, and I decided to do it to a spoof of just Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll because that would be quick and easy, right? Get her done. And so I'll never forget Becca and I came home that night to her boyfriend at the time, and I said, what do you think about this? And he goes, this is really good. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I think it's good too. And so anyway, funny enough, you know, put it out, got it recorded, and we went to the Super Bowl that year, and so it was
Timing was good.
Timing was good.
I mean, they made it because of your song.
Of course,
right? I mean,
hello. I'm a good omen.
There you go.
No, I don't. You know, not at all. But
the air conditioning turned back on though, so you must be.
Did it?
Yeah, we were worried the air conditioning might not be working right. Yeah, it's been on all night. That's why we're really not uncomfortable.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. See, that's a good thing.
See, yeah.
But anyway, so we went to the Super Bowl that year, and so the song ended up being all over every radio station. I was like, holy crap, I'll never forget it. My dad, we were working, and my dad goes like this, and he turns his head, and he goes, because my dad would always listen to DVE, you know, like I was like
He's a good man.
Yes, he's a very good man. And so it was so funny because like that was like our thing. Like we'd landscape and then we would go home and then, you know, take the portable radio out by the chicken coop. Literally.
Latrobe
and play badminton and play badminton. Oh yeah, it was like
badminton. How do you probably pronounce that correctly? Bat or badminton?
Badminton. BAD. I believe, right?
I'm asking you.
Should we Google that?
I'm asking you. I'm not a connoisseur of badminton or jarts or any of those backyard games that were.
It would be badminton for 500, Eric.
Oh, so BAD. Okay.
Badminton.
All right.
So anywho.
There we go. See, you learn things on this show, friends.
Exactly. It's educational. So anyway, so we used to have so much fun like doing that, and so my dad used to always listen to TV. And so
what's wrong with that?
He had it on in the nothing. I love it. I love it. Jim Kren's actually a really good friend of mine, another one of my mentors. He's part of the Protector, the Protector line of it. God forbid anybody that wants to date me now. Like it's going to be highly entertaining.
Sounds like trouble. Sounds like trouble.
You go. But anyway, so he turns his head and he's like, Natalie, I think you're on the radio. And I'm like, what? He goes, no, I think you're on the radio. And he runs over to the truck and he turns it on, and sure enough, there I am. I'm everywhere. And so we got to play at the AFC Championship game, at Heinz Field, and that was super fun. And then afterwards, ESPN, awarded me for Fight Song of the Year. And I
saw that.
So I was the first female to ever write and record a fight song. Yeah.
That's very cool.
It was very cool. It was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
It was a lot of fun.
So how did was it Black and Gold Girls?
Yes.
Was that the next thing, or was the fight song separate from that?
It was separate, but that's how it began. Mm-hmm. There's many stories out there about that.
So why don't you set the record straight then tonight?
I absolutely will.
I was asking Tom and some other people, they knew all about it, but they all had different. From our short conversation, I knew the story. I knew the story.
Yeah.
Which you're going to share, but everybody has a different opinion of what the hell happened there.
Right. Right.
So what happened? What really happened?
So I wrote "I Love Black and Gold," and the person who helped me get it recorded seemed like a really nice, totally great, family guy and everything, and I trusted him, and
it's the music business,
right? Or any business, I guess, and
especially the music business.
It's going to require some more data.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you.
You are most welcome. So anyway, I was after the song and after the award and everything like that, and it was that summer. It was the following summer, 1 year later.
Right.
And my dad decided that he wanted to frame all of his terrible this is hilarious. But he wanted to frame all of his terrible towels.
What's wrong with that?
Well, no, but this is what's funny. So he wanted to have them as the ceiling. And you should see my dad's bar. It's all Steelers and Rolling Rock. And he's so yeah, but Eric, you should come and see this. It's
all right.
He literally he's so artistic in a way. I suck. I can't even draw a stick figure, but my dad is super talented. He'll take a piece of wood and he'll burn the outside. It looks like a real wooden log.
Yeah.
Something you would see at a fancy lodge in Aspen, Colorado. Mm-hmm. That's what the basement looks like in my parents' house, but it's a really cool bar.
Okay.
So this was in the developmental stage of said bar, and so he was getting this idea that he wanted, and of course, me being his little sidekick, I was in charge of doing all these projects with him. So we were hanging these terrible towels on the ceiling, and I'm holding these up for my dad, and he's drilling them in, and I'm thinking about all the stats and the facts that I learned from the song. I was the first female to do it. I knew that we had the highest percentile of female fan base in the world. Mm-hmm. I learned that from doing this song. I also know in my own experience, because I would never miss any game, because that was my bond with my dad.
Sure.
So we would talk about, oh my God, did you see this? I can't believe this happened, whatever, in all sports. And so even when I was on the road all the time, it was harder for me to find the Pens game and
right.
I don't really watch baseball on TV.
You what?
I don't really watch baseball on TV.
Show's over. That's okay.
It's the truth. It's the truth. But I love going to the games. I do love going to the games.
Everybody says that about baseball. Everybody says that.
I do. I don't know why. I don't like watching golf on TV either, but I love golf.
What?
To teach their own.
Golf?
But anywho, regardless.
Yes.
So, but I love hockey. I love football. So, okay. So good. So I never had a problem being able to find a Steelers bar, no matter where I was touring.
There's thousands of them.
Correct. And I knew that too. And so I put all that together and I thought, man. And I thought about, at first, things go through transitional thinking, thought creation, idea processes, right? When you're developing something.
Okay.
And as you know, and at first I kind of thought, look at the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, look at all the cool things and events that they do.
Sure.
They're very involved in a lot of charity things. It's a big operation. And so at first, that kind of came to mind. And then I thought about a lot of merchandise, and that kind of stuff. And what really got me and sparked it was going, man, there's always different variations of this damn terrible towel. We need one of those. That could be the first thing, to break in or whatever. And so anyway, I went up and met with that same gentleman, and he was like, oh, it's a great idea. I think it'd be wonderful. And he goes, I'll tell you what, you run it and I'll back it. I'm like, okay, great. We'll start the towel and starting to think about different ideas and whatever. About a week later or so, he wanted to get a family member involved because she had a marketing background and everything. And I could tell she didn't really care for me since day one, you know, maybe a little bit, but we were just very different. And, you know, I've seen these looks. I've been in these situations before, and I could tell, you know, I'm not an idiot. And, you know, so it was kind of okay at first, you know, but, you know,
the writing was on the wall.
The writing was on the wall. And it was, you know, I would have these great ideas, but when I would like say an idea, it would be kind of like 2 against 1. Maybe they didn't like it. But then the next week, she would introduce an idea and it was like the same freaking design or same, you know, but maybe just a small variation. And that was all well and good too. And hey, whatever, it takes a team effort, you know, cool. And, but, you know, what's funny is that, you know, what's fair should be fair all across the line. And, you know, and sometimes you go through hard things in life. And, you know, McFadden's became our home base. And, you know, so like my face was splattered all over the place. I apologize to anybody who had to say that for like a few years, but I mean, I was everywhere. And so we would go down and of course I would be on the bar, I'd be in the DJ booth, I'd be here, I'd be there, and I would take my daddy to the games and stuff.
Sure.
And I think that got frowned upon a lot because when the games started, I would take my daddy to the games. And, you know, and I think the nail in the coffin came when, you know, there was an opportunity to do the Jerome Bettis show, and we went and we did it, and I brought my dad, and it was really fun. It was so nice of them to have us on, and you know, and it was a lot of fun to do that, and we knocked it out of the park, and it was good. But things after that moment really went downhill. You know, one of the members, you know, had an ill mom and she passed away, so she couldn't make it to a lot of these like button pass out things when we would do like the Real Women Wear Black and Gold, because it was to unite, identify, and activate all of the women all over the world that cheered all black and gold. Steelers, Pirates, Pens, Passion, all of us, right? There was over 100,000, you know, followers on our Facebook page, you know, but I didn't know, I wasn't the techie person. I didn't know how to do, I still don't know how to run Facebook. If it wasn't for Kayla, you know, she's my girl, man. Kayla, you know, you know, Kayla Starta Strategies. She's amazing. She's my right hand. You know, I wasn't in the right field for what I was doing, and I was very green. I was kind of wet behind the ears still in the business world and learning. And I'm a creator, you know. I can be a face, a spokesperson, a creator, a designer. I'm the fashion, you know, person, you know. So that's kind of all very, very me. But when it comes to like Facebook or following it or paying attention, it's never really been my thing. You know, it's not my bag, baby, as they say. And but anyway, so things kind of changed, and so it would seem like it was okay when she had a death in the family, and we all picked up the pieces and helped. But I went through something that same year, and I am a woman that survived an abusive relationship, and it wasn't easy, and especially for being a very, very strong woman. It's very surprising probably for people to hear that.
But it is.
Yeah. It is. You know, sometimes people can get in your head and play on your insecurities, and I think that that's kind of what happened. And it doesn't even mean that the other person is necessarily a bad person per se, but it was definitely a bad situation.
It can mean that.
I know. I have a hard time being mean.
No, I don't want you to be anything you're not. I'm just saying
but so I was going through a really hard time. It was very hard, and I needed to break free of a very bad situation. And I wasn't given that same slack, and so things got ugly.
Got it.
And you know, it got to a point where we really would only converse via attorneys. I think they think that this was all just their idea, and that they had this idea for years, and that I was nothing and I am nothing. And it's like, I remember sitting there with them and crying and going, because it meant something to me.
Sure. I get it.
It was my baby, you know, and I knew what I was being told wasn't true.
Right.
That's not how this got started. You know, and whatever happened in between or whatever, okay, you know, whatever. But that's not. I was the black and gold girl.
Right.
You know, and I didn't even dub myself that. It was everyone else that did. It was all like the media and the reporters and, you know, everyone like, they're Pittsburgh black and gold girl. And it was like, oh, thanks, you know. Yeah.
Right.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Right.
You know.
So you basically walked away.
I did. I got a lot of irons in the fire right now.
Well, and that's kind of how I want to make sure before we finish up, I want to make sure we cover that because I don't know where you're finding enough hours in the day right now to do everything. But whether it's modeling, whether it's we have a mutual friend, Frank Murgy.
Yes, I love Frank.
You're the female Frank. I always say this because you're a spokesperson for everyone. You go into a room and you captivate the room, and that's who you are. That's part of your persona. Yeah. You do a lot of other things, but you do a great job. So how you have other irons in the fire right now?
I do.
Yes,
I do.
Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. I mean, we can. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's so funny, and yeah, thank you. That's actually a beautiful comparison, and Frank is such a great friend, you know,
great guy.
He's a wonderful guy. He's a wonderful guy, you know, and I love that man to bits and pieces. Always will, you know. Yeah, I do. I have a lot going on, and you know, it's funny because it almost can be or seem confusing to people, but really, when you get to know me. And you step away and you look at it, you go, oh, I get it. She can do that because she's done X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I think it's all really well interconnected. I think there's a logical. I think it reads. I think whether it's your media kit, whether it's your resume, whether through a discussion like this, I think it all connects well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I mean, I've got Nat Around Town, you know, which, you know, has been like so much fun to do. And, you know, I really originally wrote enough content for a television station.
Well, that was kind of where I was headed with it when we brought it up earlier.
Yeah. And so I wrote enough content to be a television station where, you know, Hollyberg, Cookin' and Nat, you know, and like all these different programming. But Nat Around Town would be little tastes of all of them in order to build up an audience. And I figured this could be in every hotel room. It could be everywhere. So whether you're, you know, and I had it started to being taped as a television show. And then I decided just to launch it as this web series version just to get it out quicker to people. And then it has we're averaging 5,000 views per episode.
Absolutely.
And I'm only in my 10th episode, which is nuts. It's nuts. I was not expecting it to take off this quickly. But it's been great. And you know, it's beautiful, the camaraderie and bringing the whole city together. And
you're having fun.
I'm having a blast.
And you're becoming educated.
Educated, yes. And and getting to know all these people better. And so, you know, it's going to continue to build, you know, so anyone, my audience, it's going to continue to build. It started with just the weekend rundown of what's happening on the weekend. I'll keep that. That's cool because I want y'all to know, what's going on. Yinsers. Not y'all. I'm sorry. I can't.
I say y'all too.
I can't. Okay, so Kren tries to teach me Pittsburghese. If
anyone can do it, it's that guy.
Oh my gosh. So we smoke. We're cigar smoking buddies, and so he's one of my dear friends.
Yeah, I don't find that a stretch. I can see that.
Yeah, and so Kren and I will be somewhere, and what sparked it is I had a couple cocktails. We were down at Burn, and we were talking to the guys at Burn, and we were leaving. And I'm like, "Oh, thank y'all so much. See you later." And he goes, "What the?"
Thank y'all.
He goes, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, you know, and he goes, "Oh boy, no, you can't be the black and gold girl and talk like that." And I'm I can't speak Pittsburghese.
It's hard to, it is. It's hard.
So he started to. There's funny videos and stuff of it, but he's trying.
He's trying to teach you. That's a whole web series in itself.
It's so funny. You should see the videos. I mean, we released one. The others, I mean, the one where he's trying to teach me how to say the word house. I'm like, house. He goes, house. I'm like, what? House. It's anyway. Circling back. So Nat Around Town, you know, I want to start bringing on my friends like that. I want people to get to see Pittsburgh in the way that I have been blessed to, which is not your typical way. But I also want it to be able to help generate revenue and attention to small businesses, charity events. Like I think we've got something now. I'm going to do some stuff with Savor Pittsburgh. So I'm going to feature some of their restaurants and then cover Savor Pittsburgh. So I want it to grow. I mean, if I had it my way, I'd love to end up becoming like the Jimmy Fallon of Pittsburgh, you know, and, you know, I'd love to like pick up like one of my buddies and, you know, whether it's, you know, like Jim Crenn or Donnie Iris, another one of my cigar smoking buddies, who I've been blessed to know. And I want to pick them up and like, you know, sing along a song in the car while we're driving and I'm talking to them. That's and like, cool. You know, then we can go to like their favorite places in Pittsburgh. What's your favorite restaurant? We're going to go there, you know, and then we make something with the chef or we do whatever. And I also want to get, you know, educational with showing everybody our old culture. Like, you know, I can call up, you know, Chris Hahn and have him open up the doors at 2:00 in the morning to Heinz Hall and be like, come on now, let's go. And I want people to see Heinz Hall the way I do.
Right.
You know, and you know, if you're relocating to the city, I want to be like, okay, hey, welcome to, you know, Morrow Park Apartments and I'm your realtor from XY Real Estate Company. And so let me show you where this is. And I want to show Pittsburgh off from the restaurants, the bars, the happenings, the events, you know, and you know, just make it more attainable.
But yeah, the potential there is endless.
It really is.
But do you think you even need television anymore? Because this is all new media. This is
I guess
powerful.
So. I mean,
it's powerful.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like I said, I mean, I have access to the movie studio and I thought that was the direction we were going to go in it, but this is working. I mean, so you know what? I'm going to go with the flow.
The web's very powerful.
Yeah.
And you're not restrained. You can do whatever you want to do.
I know. It's so fun. I don't like being put in a box, Eric.
I'm aware.
I like to be Freebird.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
But yeah, so I mean, so that's been really great, you know, and fun, and clearly that makes sense for my background and whatnot. And I love to be a host, and hosting things is a lot of fun. And
you're also a corporate spokesperson, right?
I'm also a corporate spokesperson. So, you know, whether I'm doing something by myself or working, you know, in conjunction with Kayla, who does more of the strategic marketing end of it. I'm the face of the Pittsburgh Dental Spa, you know, have been for years, very proudly. I love them so much. Love Dr. Runco and Elaine and all the staff. And
40-foot Nat.
The attack of the 40-foot Natalie on the Parkway. Yeah, can't miss her. Good Lord. And yeah, I mean, so, you know, I do all their commercials. I write jingles. And I love storyboarding commercials. You should see the storyboard I wrote for the Still Proud project, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it'll blow your mind. I think it'd be really great. We just got to get the funding up for it. But regardless, circling back, squirrel. Yeah. Squirrel. Squirrel.
We've had no squirrel moments tonight. You've been very focused.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, this has been very good.
But I'm also the face and spokesperson for Studio Booth, which is an amazing salon and full service salon and spa. Beautiful in East Liberty. Right. So very proud of them and their work and all their product lines and everything they've got shaken there. I mean, they're definitely like, I don't care how old you are, and especially if you were like even younger and even a guy, like that's like the place to go. Even a guy. That's the cool place to go.
Even a guy.
So yeah, so I'm the face of them. I've done a lot of stuff for Pro Suites too, which they're on the 49th floor. I have an office there. 49th floor of the U.S. Steel Building. 600 Grant Street, baby. Doesn't get any cooler than that.
No, it doesn't.
The
view
is
up there.
Beautiful.
Yes, very familiar with it.
It's gorgeous, right? So yeah, so I've got that kicking right now, and hopefully some more probably coming down the pipeline. And then of course I have my Renew You. And Renew You,
talk about that.
It's my image consulting firm, and I fell into it accidentally just because of my past experience in modeling and having to learn how to style a photo shoot and how to pose and what looks good and, you know, how to style people, you know, and different body types and, you know, and whatnot. But more than anything, you know, whether you just want to get back into the dating world, maybe you haven't been in a long time, maybe you're a professional and you're taking on a new position, or maybe you've been kind of behind the scenes in a position like in the tech world, and now they want you to speak, you know, very knowledgeable about your product out in the sales force. So maybe there's a transition there that you need to prepare for. or whether you just want to hit the reset button. Renew You can work across, all spectrums. Like it's for everybody, male, female, my clients, age and sex and age from like 30 to 60s.
Right.
And it's been really wonderful. And I think more than anything, depending on the package you get and whatever, I do like at-home wardrobe stuff and take them shopping, hair, makeup, all ending, dating tips, do's, don'ts for those kind of people that need that, and then all ending with a personalized styled photo shoot that I put together for you that helps to basically take who you are on the inside and then help to project that image to the world on the outside confidently.
Right.
And so a lot of it I've been finding is finding people's inner confidence and helping them develop that and be able to, to display that, and
I'm sure it's rewarding as well too.
It really is. It really, really is. And I've made great friends, with my clients, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm just happy to see them happy, and it makes me feel good to see other people be the best that they can be. It really does.
You seem happy.
I am happy. I am. I'm positive, Polly.
Yeah, but you seem genuinely happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, right?
It's very good.
Yeah, you're in a good place.
Yeah, I am.
Song coming out. We'll revisit that now. The song coming out. We don't like to date these shows here, but soon, real soon, like days away.
Yeah.
Song is and again, just to circle back around, you wrote it, right?
Yeah, I wrote the song, and so the Still Proud project, that's going to be coming out soon, and probably in the fall, maybe even around the same time as my album.
And that's that song is that's Pittsburgh's anthem, right?
That is the anthem. Still Proud is the anthem for the city of Pittsburgh.
STEEL.
STEEL. Still Proud.
Good play on word there. That's good. That's
Thank
good.
you. She's a thinker, Eric.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I get that. So your play's been full.
Yes, it's been very, very full. It's been very, very full. But I'm excited. The single, I think the single is going to be a lot of fun. It's just a small taste of what's to come. And, Veni Vidi Vici, now getting to hear more of my story, it probably makes sense as to why maybe I entitled my album that. I came, I saw, and I conquered. Life, the world, the crazy obstacles and hurdles that we all face in our own different paths and directions. And, I want to, it's funny because, I think my image is different than, maybe not different. I don't know. It's different than who I really am sometimes.
Okay.
Well, you know that.
Yeah.
I think that, that's been sort of even told to you.
Yes, by multiple people.
Yeah. Yeah. What did they tell you?
It's all good. How did our mutual friend put it? Mr. James Houck.
Okay.
Said she's more complex than you think she is.
Yeah.
Peel the onion away.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, totally. And I've had this squeaky clean image, which I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
It's some people go, well, no wonder you're in a book with Fred Rogers, of a reputation.
Oh, we did not hit upon that before. We can't close the show. You again, we touched on it, but so Legends of Latrobe.
Yes.
Yes. Don't be humble. Talk about it. Think about it. It's look who you're with there. That's from pretty good company.
It's
humbling, huh? Uh-huh.
It's crazy.
How did you find out?
I got a phone call. I thought it was a prank call.
All right.
I thought it was a prank call. I was it's two phone calls in the last few years that have been really crazy. It's been this and Greta.
Right.
That was a funny story too.
Right.
But yeah, I got a phone call from the author, and he said, "I'm doing this book on the legends, from the last 200 years of the city of Latrobe, and I would like you to be a part of it."
Latrobe.
And I'm like, really? Okay. And and so they took my story and stuff, and I think the coolest part about being involved in that project is he's a teacher, the author of this book, and his class he had them go through the book and pick somebody and then do a book report on them, and then show up for the book report. You dress like them. I mean, it's elementary school, so you dress up like them. And I had 2 little girls pick me out of anyone in the book.
That's pretty cool,
right? And so they dressed up like me, and they did a report on me, and I just was like, wow, man, like that is more rewarding than any of those rewards, and accolades and awards that I've received. I mean, those reaching the youth like that is so cool. Like you can't even describe that. It's imagine. Very moving. It's very moving. And so if anything that I can do that with how I grow in my career can do that, and to touch them and help inspire somebody, or let them escape from a bad time in their life, or move them in some way, or help them in any way, or let them hear how I've really come up in all this, and maybe it can help somebody else, then that's why I do what I do. I want my life to mean something someday, not because of the awards that I have, because that stuff goes away. I mean, that means nothing.
So to end this, when it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered for?
Wow, that's a really deep question, Eric.
I know. Isn't it good? That's a good one, isn't it?
It is a good one.
How I say this, not so much what's on your tombstone or like nonsense, but how do you want to be remembered? When it's all said and done, whether you're 60, 80, you're maybe live to be 100, you might. But if you want to look back, and someone's going to look back on your life, what do you want to be remembered for? How do you want to be remembered?
I will share this with you because I always tell people this, and it was something that was taught to me, and I think that it is a really beautiful thing that everyone should do, and I call it the rocking chair test.
Okay.
So if you picture yourself in your 90s, and you're sitting on a front porch on a beautiful day, and you're in your rocking chair, and you're just kind of going back and forth, and you're looking back at your life, what do you see? And that's how you should live your life every single day. And you should be trying to reach obtaining those things that you see when you look back. So hopefully I get to be remembered for being a wonderful mother someday.
That'll happen.
A wonderful wife. I want to be remembered for being, a great person inside and out. Someone who got to touch the lives of other people, maybe help inspire other people. I want to be remembered for being energetic and being strong.
That will be at the precipice. That'll be at the top, probably, my guess.
Well, and the life of the party for sure.
That might probably right underneath it.
Yeah. And to make people laugh, because I'm just honestly deep down a giant goofball, So.
All right, so remind everybody how they can obtain the new song.
It's going to be across all music platforms, everything from Apple Music, Spotify,
Google Play.
Pandora, Google Play, everything. It's there. It's there.
And the title is again?
Burn It Down. Burn it down, down, down. You got to hear it. I gave you a preview.
I certainly did.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Go buy it.
Yes.
Go buy it. Apple, Google Play, Spotify. Don't stream it. Buy the fucking song. Buy the song. Buy the song.
No, it's going to be great.
This has been great. You come back and see me again?
I'm going to come back and see you
For
again.
Sure. On a regular basis, we should do this.
We should totally do it. And, when Veni Vidi Vici, it's going to be coming out, I would say sometime here in the fall.
Right.
Maybe mid-fall, something like that.
How many songs you project for the album?
Man, I don't know, because now it's starting to really rank up now, because Frizzy and I have some together, then I've got mine by myself, and then I've got my old ones. It's definitely going to end up as a strong, probably 11 to 12 cut album.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, the real deal, baby.
Right on.
It's crazy, right?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Eric.
The show was great.
Yes.
Fantastic. And thank you all.
Yes. Salute.
Salute. So would you agree with me that
Oh boy, I don't like that look on your face. That look on your face is scaring me right now.
Because this is...
Yikes, stripes.
I know. So would you not agree with me that because of the legends of Les Troubs,
yes,
you are, lumped is a horrible word, but you are associated with Fred Rogers and Arnold Palmer, and those are two very iconic gentlemen.
Yes.
And Fred primarily extremely reserved and genuine, wholesome,
amazing man,
squeaky clean. Yes. Squeaky clean. And that is really not really 100% kind of not really you. Yeah. Right?
Oh boy.
And I don't mean that in a salacious way.
No, you're right.
I just, you're being associated with Fred Rogers.
Yes, and everyone always...
Which is a great company to be in.
No, it's a great company to be in, and you're right. And I do really have that very girl next door, very squeaky clean image in Pittsburgh. I do. Mm-hmm. But, to know the real Natalie is to know that I am much more raw and real.
Raw, real, unfiltered a bit.
Yes.
This was unfiltered. This is what the great part about the show. It's unfiltered.
Oh Lord! Oh my God! Yeah, and it's hard for me because I've been living that rep very publicly for so long.
Sure.
And and I'm proud of that. And I'm not saying that isn't actually part of who I am. I mean, for sure.
Sure.
But at the same time, I am a little edgy,
Well, it's in your music.
It is,
yes. It's in your attitude.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, it's in the advertisements, it's in the it's there.
Yeah, it is.
It's there.
It is.
And you don't run from it.
Yeah.
And nor should you.
I don't. I think that, just everybody, I'll it only goes so far, and then it's like, get back.
Well, it's managed very well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But you have
to be.
Yeah. And so, and that's all well and good. And it's kind of crazy is that getting back to being an artist again is really...
well, you dance around the edge of that now.
There's no more dancing.
Well, that's where music is today.
Yeah, because it's like I can't dance around it anymore. I have to be real. Mm-hmm. And because if not, then your music is fake, and who the hell wants to listen to fake music?
Right.
I know I don't. I want to listen to someone's guts, right?
Right.
And the truth of the matter is I'm certainly not boring. I mean, I like to have a good time. I'm fun. I am raw. I'm real. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, but I am at the same time positive Polly. I am, so again, it goes back to both sides of my personality, Fred Rogers, rock and roll.
Well, maybe from the beginning we talked about having it all in life. Maybe you are proving that, but you can be both sides of the coin and make it work effectively.
Yeah.
Which I think that's hard for a lot of people. You seem to be wrapped. You have that wrapped up pretty good. You got that figured out. It seems to be.
Thank you. And it's something that I'm just being me. I'm just doing me. I'm just being me. I mean, when you meet me and to know me I hold nothing back, and I am who I am.
And I will tell you, getting to know you a bit before the show, which I don't get the chance to do that with all my guests, but this was good because you validated, which is why I'm impressed about. You validated that you are indeed exactly who you are. There was not one bit of, what you presented tonight in this conversation we had was exactly what my impression is that who you are. So it's very genuine, and I think that will serve you well. I really do.
Well, thank you, and I hope so.
I think so.
I hope so, and it
comes across. I think
I want to make Pittsburgh proud. I really do, and I think, I got to be a legend of Les Troubs, but Pittsburgh is my home now, and as well as sometimes South Carolina.
when you need a couple more, we only get so many, days of sunlight here.
My
right?
heart sometimes gets very torn because I really do.
You need to look up and see blue skies once in a while, right?
Yeah, and
weather.
I love the water.
And good weather.
I grow a fin if I could, so I love.
We have water. We talked about that, yesterday. We have water here. We just have. You have to maneuver between. Some people do. Some people eat the fish out of that river too. I don't know, but that's what they do. Yes.
And no, nothing against any of that, but I've just been advised.
Ever a diplomat.
Yes. I have to be. Politics will be my next career.
Oh, please.
But no, I want to make Pittsburgh proud. Because it's given so much back to me, and I am grateful for absolutely everything that this city has embraced me and given to me. And I couldn't, my God, I mean, it's.
What is it about this town? This is an amazing town.
It really is.
The people are unbelievable.
The whole thing
quirky.
Is just
we have our own little ways. We have our Pittsburghese. We have all that stuff. And maybe it's, to some outsiders looking in, we're kind of the butt of some jokes, and so be it. But in the end, it's just, there's no place like this town.
There really isn't.
There isn't.
There really isn't. And I didn't realize that until being and traveling and living so many other different places, that coming back here and seeing that was like, wow, like this,
Right.
It's a cool spot, man. It's a very
cool spot, man.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. Salute.
Thanks, Eric. Salute. Benny Vita Vici.
There you go.